हरि ओम। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। We are studying Brahma Sutra in the light of Brahma Sutra Bhashyam by Adi Shankaracharya. The first four of the 555 aphorisms or sutras. In the first Adhikarana called Samanvaya Adhikarana, we have so far seen two of the sutras, Ataha Brahma Jidnyasa, Athato Brahma Jidnyasa, Janmadyasya Yataha. The whole purpose of Brahma Sutra and of course the Bhashyam can never be kept out of the purview. The main purpose of Brahma Sutra is to reconcile the apparent differences in Veda, more so in Upanishad, about the relevance of and the purpose or goal of Upanishadic statements. The need for this has arisen because of different way the Vedas are interpreted by the different rishis, leading to some amount of confusion amongst the sadhana that one has to do. For any activity to be done, the means and methods have to be crystal clear in the mind before such an activity is taken, because unless the goal is clear, methodology in its right way cannot be adopted. If the purpose or the goal itself is controversial, then of course the methodology becomes controversial, or it may become useless. And mind well, those who interpreted Vedas in their own way, by defining in their own way the goal or the purpose of Veda, were not small fries but highly intelligent and highly evolved souls. So it is not a question of argument between two ordinary people, but it is a question of argument between two highly evolved souls, the way they looked at the Veda. Absolutely diametrically opposite views have emerged from the same Veda because of the interpretation by the stalwarts. And in order to set the score once for all, Adi Shankaracharya, amongst his umpteen illustrious creations, the highest or the jewel crest amongst his creation is the Brahma Sutra Shankara Bhashya. We cannot forget the macroscopic view as to why the Brahma Sutra is being studied. This is all Shabda Janjal. This is a jungle of Shabda. So there is a possibility that the student of Brahma Sutra or Veda may get lost while going into the depths of the Brahma Sutra and may forget the macroscopic or the broad outlook of what we are studying. If we look at all the religions that have evolved on this earth, or the thought processes that have emanated from human mind over the period of last known history of about 8,000 or 7,000 years, we realize that there has been a constant curiosity, whether it was entertained by the kings of the level of pharaohs of Egypt, to the level of the philosophers coming from Eastern and Western world. The whole purpose of this philosophical bent, whatever happened in the minds of the great kings, or in the mind of great rishis, or in the mind of the members of Senate of the Greek or the Hellenistic world, whatever happened in the minds of Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, whatever happened in the minds of all the philosophers that followed down the line, whether it was in India or any other place, the entire focus is on knowing what is the reality. And immediately the next question, how to apprehend the reality. What is the reality, which is otherwise called as Tattva Mimamsa or the metaphysics of the philosophy part, and what is the knowledge and how to get the right knowledge about the reality is the field of epistemology, Jnana Mimamsa. So Vastu Mimamsa and Jnana Mimamsa, or Tattva Mimamsa and Jnana Mimamsa, are the two wheels of thought based on which all the civilizations tried to solve the question, what is the reality? What is this world all about? Is there any presence of God or Ishvara anywhere or not? And of course, the opinions have evolved which are absolutely divergent. How is this world created was a question that plagued in the beginning to all of them. If we go back to the kings or the kingdom of Egyptian civilization, they thought it is all that has happened because of none else but the god called Ptah. It's not Pita, it's Ptah, P-T-H-A, and is being maintained by the sun god called Amurah. Down the line after that, if we look at all the civilizations, whether it is Sumerian, Akkadian, Chaldean, Babylonian, Indus Valley civilization, all the civilizations seems to have attempted to know from where the world has emerged, what is the nature of the world. The Abrahamic religions which have originated in the land of Galilee or the Palestine, which gave to the two largest religions today existing in the world, one being the Mohammedan religion and another being the Christian religion. If we look at their scriptures, Bible and Quran, about the origin of the world, the principal granthas of these two religions talk about the creation of world in two different ways. The Bible says it was created by the God in 7 days, while the Quran says it was created in 6 days. If we look at a cursory glance of all the scriptures of any religion that is existing in the world, we see that it is grappling only with the issue of world and its creation and its creator. This is where precisely the thought process of the Rishis is diametrically opposite of what the rest of the world is thinking when it comes to Bharatavarsha. The thinking of the Rishis and the Munis went beyond the world itself. So Jagata, or the world, was transcended to see whether there is any reality beyond the world, beyond the creator of the world. That is how the world and its creator were kept at a lower pedestal. Something on the higher pedestal was being thought of. When that was being thought of, the vyavastha of this world has to be made, and that is how even a bold and a courageous question has been asked whether there is real existence to the world or not. The only religion or the only thought process in the world which has questioned in sum total the very existence of the world is Vedic philosophy. From the Vedas, the Adhyasavad came out with a very strong and bold proposition that the world has not arisen at all. It appears to have arisen. It is an appearance on the real thing. So there is a complete unreality existing in this world. The world is not real, but it is just an appearance, just an adhyasa, just a brahma. We do not see any thought process or religion talking about this, except perhaps this year's Nobel Prize winner in physics, 3 of them coming together to say that perhaps the world is not existing. It's an illusion. The quantum mechanics this year, the Nobel laureates, 3 of them from the physics, have conclusively stated that there seems to be an illusion called world. We leave the science there itself and focus on that which was realized in a certain state of consciousness by the Rishis, which have enunciated the Brahma Sutras, the truth that they realized, because it is not a theory proposed by the Rishis, but an experience that they had. So Brahma Sutra is not a theoretical physics. It is the utterances of those who experience that particular state. Brahmavid Brahmeva Bhavati. Because they themselves became Brahma. Brahma was the word that was coined to indicate the reality beyond the existing world. Since the reality cannot be two, it has to be only one and ultimate. Since Brahman was that reality which was only one, Ekameva, Dvitiya, and ultimate, naturally anything other than that then becomes an appearance because it has no existence. If something has no existence, how it can appear? That is why that which has no existence yet appears to be true is called Sat, Asat, Anirvachaniya Khyati, which is the present world, which is elaborately discussed in Adhyasavad, which we have studied in depth, detail, and in depth. Now the question comes that you cannot just come and say, even if you are a Rishi, you cannot just come and say that, look, Brahma is the reality and I have realized it. There is nothing other than Brahma everywhere. It is only the Brahma. All common people, mortals like you and me, are going to definitely either ridicule the Rishi, or if we are serious enough to take him seriously, we are going to ask a question that how the hell you came to this particular conclusion that Brahma is the ultimate reality. And that is why it has to be explained not by experience, because for the experience of Brahma, you need to reach a particular state of preparedness called adhikar. Not all those who are going to study Brahma Sutra like us are adhikaris, so we cannot have experience to have it and then say that, yes, you're true, the Brahman is existing as ultimate reality. So till the time there is no aparoksha jnana, paroksha jnana has to be given somehow by writing something, by using shabda jnana in a manner that a commoner would understand. A person who has taken the taste of a beautiful Alfonso mango need not tell anyone how the experience is, because he has already experienced the bliss or the enjoyment of that particular mango. But for those who are inaccessible to that mango, they would always be doubting this person, saying that maybe he's lying because he's making some utterances which we don't understand. He says there is a fruit called mango and that is something very delicious. In order to explain the ignorant people who have no access to the mango, he has to describe it in the words which they will understand, by comparing that with whatever they have in their mind as their experience. If guava or apple is the only fruit that the common people have had so far, then he may perhaps come down to tell that it is similar to the fruit which you have eaten, though it is different. During this interpretation by the Rishis for the sake of commoners or the one who are not adhikari, naturally the shabda being spoken, the shabdas then they get interpreted in a different manner by those who interpret it. You need to understand one thing very clearly: the Vedas are unequivocal. They are absolutely spasht in what they intend to say. However, our inability to understand the Vedic utterances leads to the controversial meaning being ascribed or attached to it. This leads to divergence of opinion amongst the intellectuals of the community. And since this has happened, another Rishi has to come forward to sort out these differences at the highest level. So for the Sadvastu Mimamsa and Pramana Shastra or the Karana Mimamsa, the highest level treatise, the highest level truth is spoken in Upanishad or the Veda. Highest level treatise to sort out the differences of interpretation in the Vedas is Brahma Sutra. And after these are sorted out, then the same truths that are revealed in a very foggy manner, foggy to our mind, not to the Rishi's mind, in Vedanta, when sorted out or perhaps properly explained in Brahma Sutra, in the crystallized form, the same truths then quite intelligible to the common mind are re-enunciated in Bhagavad Gita. In this process of being told, the Brahma Sutra Kar, Vyasa Muni or Badarayana Rishi starts telling that, first of all, I am telling you the Brahma Sutras. Let me tell you who is qualified. So he says, Athato Brahma Jidnyasa. He indicates that, oh dear disciple, now that you have become qualified through the sadhana chatushta, your chitta shuddhi has reached to a level where now your intelligence is different than the intelligence of a common man. The Prakruta Purusha, you are no more. You are a Sanskruta Purusha because your mind is cultured. Cultured meaning you, by your karmas in your life, in the ashramas like the Brahmacharya ashrama or Grahastha ashrama or the Sannyasa ashrama, you have purified your heart, you have increased the sattva guna in you, and now your intelligence has become powerful enough to absorb the truths of the highest type. Brahma Sutra deals with the truth of ultimate type. For an ultimate type of truth realization, ultimate type of intellect is also required. The ability to achieve that intellectual power so that we can understand the Brahma and its nature is done only through the preparatory exercise, which is called as Chitta Shuddhi, which is nothing else but doing the karmas in the manner that the Veda has told us to do, and then taking a next step of such a refined mind is then being tried for ekagrata. Because a common experience also tells us one thing, that for any intellectual thing to be achieved, the enormous importance is ascribed to the concentration, ekagrata. The ability to concentrate depends upon the penetrating ability of the intellect. The penetrating ability of the intellect depends upon the sattva guna in that particular person. Sattva guna in that particular person depends upon the karmas that he has entertained in his life. So after going through all this process, the one who has the sharpest intellect, when he reaches a stage where now his intellect will compel and propel him, mind well, extremely intelligent person of this kind who has done sadhana chatushta, he will not hanker for anything that is worldly, because it is the inherent nature of the sattva guna of highest order is to propel you towards the final truth. It is an automatic thing. The very reason we hear of so many rishis, munis, and even recent stalwarts like Swami Vivekananda leaving the home and going away is not because they take a conscious decision that I have to do this. It has less to do with a conscious decision, more to do with the compelling and propelling factor within them, which does not let them sit idle in the worldly environment. What prompted Siddhartha Gautama Buddha to leave his palace? What prompted Vardhamana Mahavira to leave his palace? It was nothing else but the inherent, incessant, compelling force, which is nothing else the force of sadhana chatushta sampannata. After that, post sadhana chatushta sampannata, you will be forced to go on the lines of finding the ultimate truth. Such an adhikari is now entering into the world of grappling the final frontier of what is reality, athato brahma jidnyasa. And then first thing the Sutrakar tells us is janmadhyasya yataha. All that we see as a creation, our intellect can only comprehend part of the creation. The highest of the intellect perhaps can comprehend highest of the creation. We have seen in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, as the consciousness increases within a person, in the sense that the sattva guna increases in a person, the width and the compass of the intellect keeps on widening. It becomes wider and wider. A widened intellectual consciousness leads to knowledge of wider things of the world, which we normally call as siddhi. But mind well, that is only the expansion of consciousness through an instrument called buddhi to grapple the width of the world, and maximum it can go is to know everything about the world, which is called omniscience. So you may become omniscient and omnipotent. But both of them presume that there is something to be known and there is something to be obtained. There is a praptavyata and gantavyata. Even if one reaches to the Ishvara level, all you do is you become Lord and suzerain of the entire creation. Brahma Sutra is talking about something beyond that. That is why it says in second sutra, Janma Adi Asya Yataha. Yataha means all the creation. Which creation? All those creations that happened in the past. All those creations that will happen in the future. All the creation that have happened now. Now the word creation, Janma, is the only word used here because we ourselves do not know how many worlds are existing. Whether these many worlds are multiverses, it is very easy to coin a word today in science industry, metaverse. But to get the concept of metaverse, multiple universes may be existing right now. As Swami Vivekananda had said at one place, that when I'm standing or when I'm sitting at one place, I do not know that there are many individuals, many jivas, either are going through me or crossing me, which I may not be aware because they have their own world. And there are many worlds intersecting with each other. These are words of Swami Vivekananda. All such type of creations. Another thing is we have seen a creation in which there are men, women, animals and plants. We are preordained by our thinking to know that the world is only this. We still do not know what kind of other jivas may be there. We still do not know who is existing where. So all these creations are coming from that one reality. So Janma Adi Asya Yataha. And Acharya tells us that in Taittiriya Upanishada, Yato Sarvani Bhutani Imani Jayante, in the shloka, since Varuna has been told that Tad Jidnyasavya, keep in your mind the burning desire to know that from which everything is born, everything is maintained, and everything becomes laya, that Tad Brahmaha. So a direct pointer in Vedanta is given to that ultimate reality, which clearly distinguishes the religion of Veda from other religions, meaning it does not say Tad Ishvaraha, Tad Jidnyasavya is not the word, Tad Brahmaha, Tad Jidnyasavya is the word. Because the very significance of God or Ishvara is relevant till the time the creation is there. What is the role of the creator when the creation is not there? And there was a point of time when there was no creation. Because anything that is created has to have a beginning, arambha. Howsoever billions of years may be, maybe the modern science speaks about 14, 15, 18, 16 billion years, etc. Billion or multi-billion are nothing else but kshanas, moments in the eyes of the one who comprehends time in the most comprehensive manner. Billion years also can become a second, because this is again a very relative concept of perception. Once this is exactly understood by the student, then the Sutrakar moves forward. You understood who can study the Brahma Jidnyasa, who must have or who has Brahma Jidnyasa, one who can have. Second is, everything that is created is coming from Brahma. That Tad Brahma you are going to study. And then comes the question that, sir, you told me about the ultimate reality. Okay, I agreed, but I have doubts in my mind. Where do I study the Brahma? For last at least 20, 30, 40 years, all of us have heard the word Brahma, 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 and so many times. And usually the human mind is habituated in learning a word and forgetting the word, but without probing into it. Now, question is, if somebody wants to probe into the details of the Brahma, the question that will be asked is, where do I know the nature of the Brahma? One, I need a map. If I have to go to a destination, I need a map. So first two things I need. First of all, I need the description of the destination so I know what the destination is like. Second is I must know that destination is worth going. And third, then I want to know how to reach that destination. So that is why, first of all, tell me, you say that Brahma is the ultimate destination, ultimate reality. All right, sir. But why should I consider Brahma as the ultimate reality? I am taking Ishwara as the ultimate reality. What is your objection? In fact, this is the objection taken by all those who are in Dvaita. All the Dvaitis, extreme Dvaitis like Madhvacharya, or relative the Dvaitis like Vishishtadvaita, all of them say that he and me. The one at the top is the Ishvara. I am subservient to him, away from him, slowly going closer to him. And a pure Dvaiti will say that you will go closer, but you will never touch him. This is their interpretation of Veda. Acharya is saying, no. This is not what Brahma Sutra means. It actually means that Ishvara is there, but you have to go on the shoulders of Ishvara and then spring dive further, leaving the Ishvara below. This is the difference between the stance taken by all the Dvaitacharyas, Vishishta, Kevala, whatever, except Kevala Advaita on one side, which is the interpretation that we are studying. And that is why the proof being given in the third sutra by the Vyasa Muni is Shastra Unitvat. Why is Brahma the ultimate reality? Shastra Unitvat. Just one word. What is the meaning? It is packed with the meaning. Shastra Yonitvat. Shastram Yoni Asya Tat Shastra Yoni. There are two ways. Now this is Samas, compound word. Interpretation of this could be in two ways. Shastrasya Yoni, that means of the Shastra, the birthplace is Brahma, meaning Brahma is the yoni of Shastra. From Brahma, Shastra is born. Now, first we should know there is no word used here as Veda. Not Veda Yonitvat. Shastra. Why? Because there is no Shastra in the world except Veda. Why? Shastum Ichha. That which talks about some discipline is called a Shasana. Shastum. Shastra is a treatise that talks about the discipline or methodology to obtain a result. The qualification required to achieve a certain thing, to obtain a certain thing, is discipline or the Shastra. You have to study hard and get up on time to pass the examination. This is, we call discipline. There has to be some discipline for an organization to succeed. In other words, success being the goal, the rules laid down to reach the success are called discipline, is called Shastra. But the difference between the Shastra and science, as we call science, is also called Shastra, and this is also called Shastra. The difference between the two is a discipline, when it is laid down for the ultimate reality, then it is called Shastra. So Bhautika Shastra is related to the material aspect of the manifested world. So it is not a Shastra, it is a Sankuchita Shastra for that particular part of the knowledge. For the comprehensive knowledge of the entire reality, the discipline that is maintained or mentioned is called Shastra, which is nothing else but the Veda. So Veda is the only Shastra. When we talk of Shastra in Adhyatma, we are talking only of Veda. There may be commentaries on Veda, which also may be called as a Shastra, but the Mula Shastra is Veda. That Shastra has come from Brahma, Shastra Yonitvat. Or the other meaning of this word is Shastra is the yoni of the Brahma. What is the meaning? Veda is the one which gives rise to Brahma, in the sense that gives the knowledge of the Brahma. What is Brahma is being told to us by the Vedas, which are nothing else but Shastras. So from that angle, Shastra becomes the yoni of Brahma. And from another interpretation, Brahma becomes the yoni of the Shastra. Shastra yonitvat. Sutrakar is keeping very quiet because it's the sutra itself is absolutely packed, terse statement. That is why interpretations keep coming. Acharya has taken samachar of both the interpretation. First, he says, look, Mahat Rugvedadehi Shastrasya Aneka Vidya Sthapanaha Upabruhitasya Pradipavat Sarvartha Avadyotina Sarvajna Kalpasya Yonihi Karanam Brahma. What is he talking here? Mahan Rugveda Adi Grantha, duly helped by Dasha Vidya or Chaturdasha Vidya Sthana, which includes Nyaya, Sankhya, Purana, Itihasa, all these which light up all the subjects. Nyaya lights up a particular subject, Sankhya lights up Purusha Prakriti, Yoga lights up Asana Pranayama. Each of these Chaturdasha Vidyasthanas are like lamps which are lightening the knowledge of certain aspects. Now, that which lights up all the subjects like a lamp, which is almost omniscient, Sarvajna, cannot be born without Brahma, because all Shastras are coming from Veda. Take any Shastra, all Darshanas, Upavedas, Vedangas, Shiksha, Kalpa, Nirukta, Vyakarana, Jyotish, all of them are coming from Veda, and this Veda cannot come on its own unless it has come from somebody who is more complete than that, which is Brahma. So Shastra is born out of Brahma. So Veda is Brahma Yoni Utpadita. Yad vistarartham shastram yasmat purusha visheshatvat sambhavati. Now Acharya is trying to give the logical explanation how Vedas are born from Brahma. See, we have been blindly, like a parrot, we have been saying that Vedas are Purusha Nishwasita, Vedas are Apaurusheya. Why it is so is being discussed in this particular Bhashya part of the Shastra. What is Acharya saying? Acharya says, Yad vistarartham shastram yasmat purusha visheshatvat sambhavati yatha vyakaranadi panini adihi. For example, if you take Vyakarana as a Shastra, it is, how big is Vyakarana? It is the soul of Sanskrit. It is such a perfect grammar. World's best is written in Sanskrit. We all know that. It is complete in all aspects, without any dosham as far as a Bhasha Shastra is concerned. So he says, Vyakaranadi Shastra yatha panini adehe jneya एक देशार्थम अपि स ततः अपि अधिकतर विज्ञानम इति प्रसिद्धम लोके. Who created the Vyakarana Shastra? Panini Maharaj created it. See the importance of Panini Maharaj. Shankaracharya is mentioning him as an example. He says Sanskrit Vyakarana is a miracle by itself, because it is beyond the intellectual capacity of an ordinary human being to create such a perfect, systematic structure for a language. And Shankaracharya says, if that is so great, it is like you seeing a tree which is so beautiful, fully laden with flowers and fruits and the leaves and looking absolutely manoramya. But we cannot forget that entire thing has come from the root. So who is great? That tree which has been so beautiful, or that root which gave rise to that particular? Of course, the roots are the greater things. Similarly, the Vyakarana, although it is so mesmerizing of Sanskrita, it cannot be greater than the creator of the Vyakarana called Panini. In the similar manner, although Vedas are the source of all the Shastras, it cannot be greater than the creator of the Vedas, which is Brahma. That is the meaning of Shastra Yonitvat. Kimu Vektavyam? Aneka Shakha Bheda Bhinnasya Deva Tiryaka Manusya Varnasramadi Prabhava Pravibhaga Hetoho Rugveda Adikhyasya Sarvajnanakarasya Aprayatnena Eva Leela Nyayena Purusha Nishwasavat Yasman Mahato Bhutat Yonehe Sambhavaha. Now, Shankaracharya is giving a final verdict on Vedas. What is the final verdict? What to say? Kimu Vektavyam? Aneka Shakha Bheda Bhinnasya. Veda is comprising of Aneka Shakha. Deva, it has described everything about gods. Deva. Tiryaka, for a common man or animals also are described there. Manushya, about Manushya also described. What is described for the Manushya? Varnashrama is there. All the do's and don'ts, Vidhi and Nisheda, is also mentioned in the Vedas. Rugved Adikhyasya Sarvajnanakarasya. Rugved and other Veda, which are the repository of the ultimate knowledge, having different shakhas, because we have Brahmana, Samhita, Aranyaka, and the Vedanta as the divisions. From the eulogizing hymns to the umpteen number of gods, to the yajnas, to the other sutras that has given rise to all the darshanas, all of them have arisen from the Shruti or the Veda. And the most important part is Sarva Jnana Karasya Aprayatnena Eva Leela Nyayena Purusha Nishwasataha. Now, this is something which you need to focus on. Aprayatnena Leela Nyayena. What is the meaning of this? We have been always saying that, Vedas are apaurushaya. Apaurushaya because they are produced by aprayatnena. Now, can anything be created in this world without efforts? Two things are required. Karana and prayojana. We know karya is not possible without karana and prayojana. What is the prayojana of Veda? What Veda can do is not important. Veda can help a person to cross the samsara and become, and helps in achieving the Brahma Prapti. All right. That is the usage of Veda. The one who created Veda, what was his prayojan? Why did he create it? When you act without prayojan, there are only two possibilities are there. The one who acts without prayojan is called unmadavat, mad. Because a person who is mad has no prayojan in what he is doing. He may just start pelting the stones at somebody. You ask him why you are pelting the stones. He said, I don't know. Why? He's mad. So a prayojan or a prayojana virahita karya could be of a mad person. But a mad person cannot create something beautiful. As beautiful as Veda. So that means it is a prayojana rahita karya from the creator standpoint. I am not talking from the user standpoint. Let us take example. The child, when he is small, a 9 months or 1 year old baby is doing his hands like this and kicking in the air. What is the prayojana? There is no prayojana. He's just doing like that. Now people are becoming very happy. The mother is so happy that the baby is dancing. That is her interpretation. The creator of that moment, the baby, has no prayojana. Aprayojana or prayojana virahita karya. Similarly, this particular creation of the Veda or Veda sadrushya karya done by whom? By the Brahma. Now the question here is, why then this particular authority is not given or title is given to Ishvara? That Ishvara does all the Leela. No, Ishvara itself is a creation of the Leela. Why? Because Ishvara cannot come into presence unless Maya is there. Maya itself is a creation of what? Maya itself is because of Brahma. Now, question comes, why the hell that Brahma, so-called ultimate reality, instead of keeping quiet and sitting alone because he was the only one, why did he create this world? We are always trying to find out Karana. Karana. Why the Brahma created the world? What is the Karana? He had no prayojana, but he had a Karana. What Karana he had? The only Karana that can be ascribed is the Sankalpa called Ekoham Bahusyamaha. But why did he wanted to become many? He was one, he wanted to become many. Why? Two answers are there. One, first of all, if a child goes to an elderly person and finds that the elderly person is repairing a watch, the child doesn't know what the watch is. So he looks at the man repairing the watch and keeps thinking, what could be the purpose why he is repairing the watch? And then the child interprets that maybe he wants to put his two hands together. That is why he's repairing the watch. This is a wrong interpretation. But why so? Because the child's intellect is not developed enough to know what is a watch, what is its repair. So he interprets it as a game of bringing two hands together. Similarly, we, the constituents of this universe, since we are not Brahma Rupa, to understand the Brahma's need to create the world, we, for our understanding, from our standpoint of knowledge, say that he was one, he wanted to become many. When we go for searching this cause, those who reached to that level, they said, no, there is no Ekom Bhausyam. Actually, there is no Sankalpa only. But then we asked, sir, all this world is there and that's an illusion. But why I am not seeing it as illusion? You are on the other bank of the river. From this bank of the river is not existing. From that bank, the river is flowing. How can there be a river which is flowing from one bank? You can see it as flowing. From another bank, you see it is not flowing. It is not possible. Not possible is called anirvachaniya. Oh, dear child, you cannot understand. I am repairing a watch, and this is called watch because you don't know the watch, you don't know the repairs. That is why prayojana virahita karya is a leela. Because for prayojana, then you will have to have ichha. Prayojana virahita, ichha shakti is there. But prayojana virahita, whenever anything happens without the prayojana, then it is called a leela. That is why Shankaracharya has used the word here leelavat, and in the adhikarana that is going to come in the second adhyaya, there is an elaborate explanation about the Bhagavanta and its leela, Brahma and its leela. We can just see in short what the word leela means and what is a leela. The word leela comes from dhatu li. Li dhatu, liyam late iti leela. Late, la has come from ra. Ralayo bhedaha is a type of a bheda in Sanskrit Vakarana where la becomes ra. In that sense, liyam late iti leela will become liyam rate iti leela. Rati is to give, li is to dravibhutata. Dravibhutata, liquefaction. So that act of the Brahma, which creates something which is responsible for giving the liquefaction or dravibhutata, is called a leela. In other words, chitta dravana, whosoever does a chitta dravana is called a leela. So what is leela? Leela is Brahma's prayojana virahita karya, which results in, the karya is prayojana virahit, but the results in chitta dravakata. What is a chitta dravakata? Chitta dravakata, because since anadi kala, anadi means something that has no beginning. A beginningless ajnana or avidya has been the reason for the world. So in this world, there are many who are deluded by the ajnana. For those ajnani jiva, irrespective of which state he is in, he may be in the tiriyak yoni full of tamoguna, or he may be into the best yoni of manushya with full of satoguna. All of them require chitta dravibhutata. What is a chitta dravibhutata? Antakarana, which we saw as chitta in Patanjali Maharaja's sutra, has been described here in this sutra in a slightly different manner. The chitta of a jiva, or the antakarana of a jiva, is either very hard or soft or almost liquid. These are metaphorical things. Hard antakarana means tamogun is so predominant. All those who are cruel people, they have what is called as a jada chitta. It is also called as a drudha vasana chitta. Those who have drudha vasana chitta, they are called loha chitta. Those whose vasanas are little less than that, they are called krudha vasana chitta or aja chitta. Those who have got atyalpa vasana, it is called hima chitta. Why these three different names are given? Loha, aja, and hima. Loha chitta is like loha, hard. Aja chitta is like butter. Hima chitta is like ice. What is the meaning of these three? Such people having this kind of antakarana, they have to liquefy their antakarana, means chitta shuddhi, so that the creator can give them alingana. One of the meaning of Leela is to give alingan to a young woman. Kumari alingana is one of the interpretation of the word Leela. In other words, the person will become Brahmamaya or Brahmavit. When he will become, when his heart will mellow down or become soft. Mrudu sabahya navanita taise santanche chitta. Tukaram Maharaj says, saintly people have heart like butter. Now, what does the Brahma do? Brahma, by its creation through Vedas, giving the knowledge or the ultimate reality knowledge, it tries to liquefy the chitta. For the liquefaction of the chitta, of a loha chitta, you require tivra agni. Tivra agni is tapas. So only when somebody does tapas, especially if you have a loha agni, loha chitta. So vairagya agni is required to liquefy, because agni liquefies, we know. Vairagya agni, which is tivra agni, liquefies loha chitta. Jnana agni, which is called madhyam agni, liquefies the butter easily. You require less fire because it is krudha vasana chitta. Vasanas are less into it. And atyalpa vasana chitta, which is called hima chitta, how much fire you require to liquefy the ice? You don't require any fire. You just keep the ice into the normal temperature, it will melt. So people who have refined their heart, they get this Sahaj Agni through bhakti. So Vairagya Agni, Jnana Agni and Bhakti Agni liquefies the Loha Chitta, the Aja Chitta and Hima Chitta. Once this is done, then there is something called Bhasma Chitta. Jnanagni Sarvakarmani Bhasmasat Kurute. Bhasma Chitta is the Jnanottar Avastha. That is the time the Dravi Bhutata is so much that there is an Alingana by the Brahman to such a Chitta. So the person becomes a Brahmi Bhuta. That is why Chitta Dravya becomes Lavanya Yukta. Lavanya Pradayani iti Leelaha. That is how Leela Shabda is deciphered in the Shastra. Coming back to Brahma Sutra, Shankaracharya is saying the creation of the world, which is nothing else but the creation of Vedas, because Vedas are the source of everything. These Vedas have come from Mahan Purusha. Mahan Purusha, the one who has excelled as a human being. Now, who excels as human being? The excellence of human being is becoming Brahmi Bhuta. So the one who has become Brahmi Bhuta can never be a part of the creation because he is Brahma. So the one who is not the Purusha, that means not the part of creation, has transcended the creation, but has out of compassion written or done some utterances as a Veda. That is the reason Vedas are called Apaurushaya. It is not the work of a Purusha or a common intellect, but Mahan Purusha. Mahan Purusha is the one who has transcended the creation, has written it. And how did he write it? Did he think about it? There was no effort required whatsoever. Anything that does not require effort is called Leela. So Leela Nyayena, do you require any effort in breathing? No. We don't even come to know that we are breathing. That is why Veda are Mahapurusha Nishvasita, as if it is a breath, which is the essential constituent of a person. You don't have to do anything to breathe. You breathe, so you are what you are. So your presence and your breathing are blended in one. So it becomes a part of you only. Breathing is part of you. Similarly, all these Mahan Purusha or Brahma itself, because We call Chinmaya Muni as Brahmavid. Brahmavid. Brahmeva bhavati. So he is Brahma only. So who spoke for all these years? Brahma spoke. It came from a plane which is beyond the creation. That is why Vedas are Leelavat, Apaurusheya, Mahapurusha Nishwasit. That is why first the Vedas have been told what their position is. And then Shankaracharya says, Shastra Yonitvat. The greatest of the great creation is not this creation. The greatest of the great creation is Veda. That is why everything has emanated from Vedas, they say. And that is why Shastra Yonitvat means the Vedas are born out of Brahma. Also, to know the Brahma, Shastra is the Yoni. So one thing is there, ultimate reality is Brahma. To do the Jidnyasa of Brahma, the Sadhan Chatushta begins his journey. Third, keep in mind that everything that says creation has to come from Brahma, and Brahma is the precursor, creator or Yoni for the Shastra. Shastra is only Veda. So Veda is the only way to know the Brahman, or Brahma has given rise to Veda. So the utterances of Veda becomes the ultimate tool to know the Brahma. This is established for a simple reason. Even if you agree for the sake that Brahma is the ultimate reality, you will say that I will study a book of science to know what Brahma is. No, sir, you cannot. If you agree that Brahma is ultimate reality and that you should, then you should also agree that the only way to know the Brahma is to know the Veda. And Veda means Vedanta. Vedanta means Upanishad. That means there is no way of realizing the ultimate reality except knowing the Upanishads in the real purport. That is the meaning. This particular sutra has been elaborated by Shankaracharya quite a lot because there are concepts coming into this. That is why we are spending more time on these first 4 sutras. Mind well, only 4 sutras have been the subject of large granthas by Padmapadacharya, Sureshwaracharya, etc., Vachaspati Mishra Maharaj. So that is why with whatever little time we have, we are trying to see it as elaborately as possible to clarify the fundamental concepts. And I'm sure Shankaracharya will give us ability and power to understand the same. Hari Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Harihi Om. I have some questions.
Hari Om. Sanjay ji. Can you hear me, please? Hello, am I audible?
You are audible.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, Bhagavad Gita, which is the Samasta Vedartha Sara Sangraha Budham, Samasta Prushartha Siddhim, we have learned that, is very much agreeable with this sutra. Because in 16th chapter's last stanza, Devasara Sambad Vibhaga Yoga, 24th stanza is saying, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavastitau Jnatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartumiharhasi. That means, therefore, let the scriptures be your authority in determining what ought to be done and what ought not to be done. Having known what is said in the commandments of the scripture, you should act here in this world. This is going very well, very, very harmonizing with the stanza. That is very interesting to see that. When you said Shastra Yonitva, suddenly this Shastram te Pramanam te, Shastram Pramanam te, this stanza occurred in my mind. I just wanted to mention that our studies are going very well towards that correct, to the perfect end. And also, I would like to say that our acharyas, they have never mentioned, they have never recommended us to deeply analyze the life. Because the other day I have read about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. When a disciple asked him how to analyze this life, and he said, don't go for deep analysis of your life. Life is not for analyzing, it is just for living. Just live the life. That's it. So when we conclude, when we come to all these, advisors, great advisors, we are getting a clear picture, actually. We are, of course, we are living in this world, but whatever is happening in the life, is there any control? Do we have any control? No, we don't have any control. So if we go for a deeper analysis, we will certainly fail. But instead, if we try to live it as it is, life will be easy. This is what I wanted to. Then you have mentioned about the Nobel laureates, and that was great. I read that news, and I was remembering, this. Ultimately, it is an appearance, and even the science, physics also is agreeing with that. It is great thing that we are learning all these things well in advance. Before this invention of this fact by the physical science. I just wanted to tell this. Thank you.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. When you mention about go deeper into the verses of this, so many interlinkings are taking place, whether it is Bhagavad Gita, whether it is Bhagavatam, or whether it is Narayaniam, all those things are interlinked, one way or other. It is more interesting the day as we progress. In fact, the first stanza from the Brahma Sutra, I think you have started the first sutra only. Bhagavatam also starts with this, as I mentioned earlier, Janmadhi Sedo Anya Idara Satera Vishnana Tene Brahma Hridaya Deve Muhyandi Suryam. This is what Bhagavatam starts. This is actually covered in that also. And as you mentioned about the beauty of Sanskrit, I was just thinking about when you are mentioning about the root of the tree which gives the flowers. Like this is the season for cherry blossom. If you see, I think this is mostly in Japan. If you see during January to March period, the cherry blossom, the tree comes with only flowers, no leaves at all. So it's a beauty. There you can see how beautiful the creation is. This is also reflected the beauty of Sanskrit. And in fact, the Germans have they have confirmed, they have proved that the Sanskrit is the best language to use in computer programming. But unfortunately, it is not so popular. They have to adopt to the English language to program. Otherwise, Sanskrit would have been dominated in the computer language itself. And with regard to the linking of the Bhagavad Gita, even Gurudev in his commentary, I think Rajendra ji mentioned about chapter 16, Devasara Sampanna Yoga. I am talking about Gurudev has mentioned very clearly in Purushottama Yoga, chapter 15, that the truth, the pure science, however spectacular knowledge however exemplary knowledge you have achieved, it is only one-sided truth of the world. The full truth is through Vedas. And yes, Gurudev has mentioned Vedas is knowledge, and those who know the perfect knowledge or man of wisdom is Vedantist or knowledge of Vedas. And Vedas is what you call, it is enormous. In one life won't be able to learn the complete thing. So every day, I think every sutra we learn. The first sutra itself exposes us into a plethora of information and knowledge. And thank you very much. We are blessed. Hari Om.
In fact, 15th chapter, Urdhamula Madhashvagam, that itself is very clear. It has occurred in my mind, but I wanted to refer one stanza only. That also occurred, yes. Shastra Urdhamula Madhashvagam Ashwattam Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Sa Veda Vid. It is perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Dilipji. Thank you.
Hari Om. Any more questions?
If there's time, then I'll ask. Okay. Sanjay ji, two things. One is when we say that this is Leela, right? Without reason. Now, is there any explanation that, some of us can understand why would something that's one want to become many? That is one question. And the other one was, if when we say that Brahma, that Vedas is the only way to learn or reach Brahman. So we've had others, in our part of the world and around the world, many saintly people like Buddha or Mahavira or Jesus or whatever. They did not perhaps study the Vedas. So would they have ever reached Brahman?
The reaching of ultimate reality by even Raman Maharshi, who never touched Vedas before realizing Brahma. What we need to understand is, Veda, when we think of Veda, means we feel that somebody is sitting and reading Rigveda and then thinking that I will have Brahma Prapti. It is not so. If we look at Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, is a statement in Veda. Now, supposing somebody is reached a stage where he is able to get into the act of Sanyama or the concentration, and during the concentration, he realizes the truth. The truth itself is saying that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahmam. Now, what happened is, somebody did not read a book describing the recipe of growing the mangoes and then eating it. He directly went to the fruit, to the tree and ate the mango, and then realized that mangoes are grown like this. What has happened is, the truths that are enunciated in Vedanta part or Upanishad part of the Veda are the truths to be realized. Brahma areva shrotavyo mantavyo nididhasatavyo. That is what Veda says. Veda says Brahma is to be done through Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Now, somebody, if he did not read Veda but did Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, then also he will reach Brahma. But what happened? What did he do? He did exactly the same thing that is mentioned in Veda. So you can either read Vedas, like for example Brahma Sutra, etc., and prepare yourself for the final journey, which is called as the reading of scriptures, or you can reach directly to a person like Tapovan Maharaj, who will directly tell the Balakrishna Menon how to contemplate, and he becomes Brahmi Bhuta. Now, are you trying to mean that our Chinmayananda Guruji has read all the Vedas? No. The gist of the Vedas, which can come to you in the form of practical experience itself, but it will be the same experience that is enunciated in Vedas. So that is why there is nothing beyond the Vedas that you will experience while experiencing the highest reality. That is the meaning of it. Jesus, where he reached through the very act of his own concentration and dhyana. There are, of course, theories about he being a yogi, he spending some time in Kashmir in his youth. Let us leave all that aside. The very level where he reached, even for that matter, Prophet Muhammad, about whom Swami Vivekananda said that he achieved the godhood as if he got a diamond in the dust. These are Swami Vivekananda's statement. Accidentally or otherwise, because of Purvapanyai or otherwise, because of just a movement or otherwise. But what they realized, the one who opposed Vedas, Gautam Buddha, opposed the Vedas. He didn't oppose Vedas. He opposed the Karma Kanda. He was completely in congruence with the Jnana Kanda. So when he sat under the Bodhi tree, what he was doing was precisely what is already mentioned in Vedas. In that sense, Veda is ubiquitous. It is not essentially that, you complete BA and then you complete MA, so you read Vedas and then go for contemplation. Not so. Through contemplation or by reading and then contemplation, whichever way, ultimately you will either study, practice and obtain whatever is written in Vedas. Hari.
Hari. And maybe this time or next time, sir, that, explanation on why Brahman would want to do Leela. Yeah, that's...
If that part, Ekoham Bahusyam is a sankalpa which are, see, first of all, we need to understand that avidya or ajnana is anadi. When was the first mistake made by the person? Because we know that you do bad karma, so you come in this world, so you are not into moksha. But first person will not do a bad karma, no? Why the first thing happened? That if you try to find out, Vivekananda has given a very clean answer to that. He says this is avakruta prashna. This is beyond human intellect. Anadi kal avidya and ajnana is flowing. That means since anadi kal avidya is there, it is anadi but antavanta. That is why about Maya it is also said that Maya is anadi, but it can end. It has no beginning, but it can end. So similarly, Ekoham Bahusyam Sankalp is our way of understanding how the world is created. Now the question is, when you become Brahmibhuta, everything is Brahman, including the Ajnana. Because if everything is Brahma, then Ajnana is also Brahma. Why? Because Ajnana, then they say that how Ajnana can be Brahma, how darkness can be sun. The answer to that is, at that stage, Ajnana doesn't exist only. So that which is not existing, you cannot become mother of that. So that is why at Brahmibhuta level, everything is Brahma. Then where is Bahusyam? So Bahusyam is an appearance. So Ekoham Bahusyam is an appearance. Although Sarpa is an appearance on the rope, it appeared because of the rope, isn't it? Rope didn't want it. But suppose rope is not there, will there be Sarpa? No. Sarpa is false or not? It is false. So if Sarpa says that Ekoham Bahusyam, so I also became Sarpa, didn't become Sarpa. Sarpa appeared on it. Similarly, creation appeared on Brahma. Now this sounds very ridiculous. I am living everyday life and you are saying it is an appearance. That is because you are standing on this side of the bank of the river. From that side, it looks like that. We are still on this side. So if you start crossing to the other side, then we will realize what we mean. That is why when Gaudapada says that it has not happened, why are you writing about the world? It has not happened. And we find it so surprising. Ajatavada is meant for only high intellectual people, Adhikari Varga. For us, it is difficult. So for our understanding, we say Brahma is omnipotent, omniscient. When there is only one Brahma, where is the question of omnipotent and omniscient? Do you say that you know entire your body? You know your body. You don't say, I am knowledgeable about my fingers. You can't, because you are the body, you are the fingers. Similarly, Brahma is not omniscient and omnipotent. It is only one. Only one cannot say that I am omniscient. For only one, there is nothing like omniscient, potent. But when you say there is a creation, has to be a creator. So a creator is placed as in the form of Ishvara. Then you say he is Sarvajna, because we are Alpadnya. In comparison to our Alpadnyata, he is Sarvajna. Otherwise, Alpadnyata and Sarvajnata both are useless as far as Brahma is concerned. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari
Om. Can I ask something, Dr. Sanjay ji?
Yes.
This is Raminder. Do we have time?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. So my question is related to the very last thing. First of all, thank you so much for enlightening. And I am too small to ask anything here, so pardon my ignorance. And my question is that when you said that the first creation ever happened was darkness a part of it, like asatya or the things which a person, it was one creation and someone who did wrong or the wrong thought or the, how he was instilled to do a bad karma, the first creation. That is my question. How did that, was that a part of Leela? If yes, what was the intent? And do we actually go to find the intent, or we surrender here and just, go a level forward? Do we actually get into finding the reasons of these things? That's my question.
The reasons for these things are natural because you're a part of the created world. Because you see the multiversity or multiple dimensions of the creation, you naturally tend to ask a question, and you are asking a question about what is the purpose of all this creation because you have been doing a purposeful act. So naturally, there is a curiosity to know why the hell the whole thing was created, how did it happen, when did it happen. So these questions are Vyakruta Prashna at this stage, and they should come, then only the philosophy will progress further. Then only the sadhana will progress further. But as we move forward, then we realize that what I was presuming as the differences, what I was presuming as unjust God, what I was presuming as first mistake, all these things have not happened at all. Now the question there is, how is it that it is because of the state that you are in? If you are in the state of a normal human mortal coil, then you will have these questions. I'll give you an example and this will answer everything. One person went to Gautam Buddha and asked 6 questions. One of the question was, when somebody becomes Buddha, where does he go? 2, it's called Tathagata. When somebody becomes Tathagata, where does he live? Where does he go? Second question was, does a Tathagat still lives in this world or is out of the world? Gautam Buddha did not answer any of the 6 questions. All he said was, you cannot understand the answers of these questions at this stage. Immediately the visitor asked, oh, that means after I become Buddha, I will come to know the answers of these things? And the Buddha answered, no, when you will become Buddha, these questions will not remain. So there is no question of answering it. It is a sthiti sapekshata. At the current level, this is the way we understand it. At the realized level, there is no creation, there are no questions, there is no ajnan. If you read the Amruta Anubhava of Sant Jnaneshwar, he asks a question. What are you talking about ajnan, ignorance or avidya? How can she exist when there is only Brahma? This is the type of question he's asking. But for the one who is afflicted by ajnana like us, we will have to deal it. It is like a person, the small boy tells the mother that I saw a ghost. The mother doesn't say that, no, ghosts are not. He said, okay, ghost is there. Okay, I'll now sing Ram, 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 and the ghost will run away. Neither the ghost is there, then the Ram will not make the ghost also run away. Both are false. But for the sake of the child, it is true. Similarly, for us, Shastra is true. After that, Kabir Maharaj says, Anjana Bani, Anjana Bed, Anjana Ghokatakata Gyan Re, Rama Niranjana Nyara Re. Hari Om.